I think it probably doesn't need to be said, but Friday the 13th is a brilliant film. It's such an iconic slasher. And if I were to recommend a slasher for somebody looking to get into that genre of horror, or that subgenre, I'd be very happy to recommend this one as a starting point. I had seen it before. I've seen it a few times, I think, over the years, but I hadn't seen it in a while. I'd never reviewed it, so I took this as the chance to watch it and really thoroughly enjoyed it again, as I was pretty sure I would. I think I've seen the next one, but I certainly haven't seen them all. So I'm now on a journey to rewatch and watch the rest of them. Friday the 13th was released in 1980. This is directed by Sean S. Cunningham. It's written by Victor Miller with a cast including Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, Harry Crosby, Jeannine Taylor, and various others. And this is about a campsite where these teenagers are there, bringing the campsite back so that they can actually, have camp there. This is at Camp Crystal Lake, and they are reopening the camp. What could go wrong? Just a bunch of kids having fun at a camp. The camp counselors are there. There's not going to be any problem. Of course, that's not how things play out, because it seems like somebody is intent on getting a lot of blood. And there we have the slasher film, as things start to get very disturbing pretty quickly. And I don't really want to go into too much detail about what's happening. I don't think it's one of those films where it's common knowledge where people know what's happening in advance. I feel like maybe most people know what's going on. I don't want to spoil it though, just in case. I genuinely can't remember if I knew what was happening before I watched this for the first time. So I won't say, but either way, I will say it's a very well written narrative. The reason behind the slasher, the killings, is, I think, well crafted. It's an interesting story. I think there's a lot of emotion behind this. So slashers often, not always, but a lot of slashers feel kind of pointless. Like there's no rhyme or reason for the killings. And sometimes that can work well. That can be scary in itself. Why are they doing these killings? There's no motive. That means it could be anybody next. That's okay. But generally I prefer the ones where we actually have a good backstory and a good motivation. And all of that here I think is very, very well written. It's a very strong story. With regards to it being scary, I'd say not so much. And this is one of the reasons why, if somebody wanted to get into horror, they had a particular interest in slasher, it's one of the reasons why I'd recommend this one first. Or at least one of the first ones, because it's a very well-written narrative. It's a very strong story with some really great performances, and it's not that scary for today's audience, unless you're really not a fan of horror, in which case you might find it to be quite scary. But if you're a seasoned horror fan, not so much. So it's kind of a good entry level there, and if you can stomach this, if it's not too terrifying, it's a good way to progress onto some more modern ones that are maybe a little bit scarier. But that's not to say there's no suspense or anything. Definitely is, but for me the appeal is the story and how it unfolds. The music is incredible. The music is by Harry Manfredini, and it's just wonderful. Everything else is great. Camera work, lighting, performances, really, really, really well done. Friday the 13th is a classic for a reason. It really is. And as I said, I'd seen it before a couple of times. And I think I've seen the second one, but I think only once. And I've seen, I don't want to tell you. I was going to say there's another one that involves Freddy Krueger, but I don't want to say what it's called because I don't want to give away too much with this film. But other than that, I haven't seen a tremendous amount of information about the others. Really looking forward to exploring them. And for now, I'm pleased to say that, again, needless to say, but pleased to say that Friday the 13th is a brilliant horror film and absolutely worth watching.